this is Michael Santiago with FloraPulse, and today I'm excited to show you how to install our 3mm small sensors. These sensors are for relatively small crops, anything below about 16 millimeters in diameter. Today I'm using a grape because that's what I have available. For grapes, we generally recommend using larger sensors, so use the 7mm for grape. But let's use a grape. This kind of install can be used for things like corn, cannabis. We've tried it in peppers and tomato. A lot of these crops are green, so they don't have a lot of woody xylem, so the installation is going to be a little bit different, but the general idea is the same. So yeah, let's get things started. This is what the sensor, the sleeve that holds the sensor looks like, right? So here's my finger. So this area that has the foam is 3mm in diameter. That's where the name comes from. And so then, yeah, normally for the 7mm, we use a bracket. For this one, we're also going to use a bracket, but we can use a bracket that's a little bit smaller. This just makes things easier. So this is the bracket. It says 3mm, so all pretty obvious, and it fits with this one. So yeah, let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to attach a bracket where we want the sensor. So the sensor is going to be installed in this little hole here, right? So you want to put this where you want it. We're gonna, let's see, I'm gonna move things around a bit to make it easy to use this. So your kit will include a bit driver, so you can put this on a screwdriver like this one, or on your drill. So either way will work. And we're just gonna tighten this up. When you do this like this, you can put this facing up or down. It doesn't really matter. Right now I'm putting it facing down just for variety. And so you can see it. Another thing, let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. Another thing, it might be good if you can get the screw here to not face like directly back, right? You don't want it like on the back because we're gonna be pressing with the clamp, and if it's on the back, it could get in the way. So try to have it on the side, right? This side or that side. Lots of little things, play with it. You'll figure it out. So then let's see here. I have the torque control. So you want to attach this until it's pretty tight. You really don't want things moving. Let's see, I can see that pretty well in the video. Great. Move the camera a little bit so that it is centered. Perfect. Okay. And so yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. For this, you want to pick an area that's like flat, no knots, nothing weird, healthy crop, all of that. And then we're going to use a cork borer. This cork borer fits in this area right here. So that's what you're going to do. And you're basically just going to push it in here and just press it and try to cut into the xylem. So what we're doing is we're cutting through the bark and the phloem, but not into the xylem. The bark of these ones is pretty hard, so you might want to remove it before you start. It's up to you. But the phloem is pretty soft, and so then this part will cut through the phloem, but not into the xylem. I mean, if you really try, you can, but let's be reasonable here. So we're going to cut, and so we're going to go a little bit further. Notice that I'm kind of going like this in an exaggerated way. I am trying to make sure that I'm cutting with all the surfaces. All right. In grape, often in many of these crops, this comes out right away. In grapes, especially these grapes are kind of dry right now. It doesn't really come out. Also, depending on the crop you're doing, if you're doing green crops, then you will want to be very gentle because you're only going to go through a really soft, thin layer. If you're doing corn with this, you could cut through the whole thing, right? So you want to just cut until you get to the xylem. And so here we can use these spatulas. They come with your kit to just remove this little cap. And you see that looks beautiful. Like we're basically in the xylem now. What we do is just to make sure we're really in the xylem, we're going to scratch the whole surface using this same spatula. And the xylem generally looks like bright white. Scratching also removes any potential cambium layers, which will help with the adhesion. The cambium otherwise would interfere, so it's nice to just kind of scratch this whole surface. Don't go crazy, but do remove, a thin layer of it. That looks pretty good from my perspective. Great. Now we're ready for the next step. So we have the sleeve. It has a cap, it has a foam. We're gonna put the sleeve cap into this little bracket here. There's a groove that fits with this little nub here, so that goes in and that holds it in place. Then we're gonna push this in like that, moving the camera a little bit to the side. I want you to notice that I want these nails to be on the sides, right? You want the nails to be vertical on both sides. So you can rotate this until you get the nails where you want them. So let's put this in. I'm gonna rotate this. Let's see, oh, other way. And so let's see, can you see that? Oh, let's zoom, change the, so the nails, let's see here. Nope, okay, perfect, yeah. So these nails, yeah, let's see here. Are gonna be on both sides, right? And so this piston is just gonna push everything into place. So that's what we're doing. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. So yeah, we're gonna push this piston in place. That looks good. But actually, you see, I'm kind of forgetting something, because what we need to do right now is actually, this is where you just have to be careful. We're gonna actually add some glue. So before we do that, so for glue, we're gonna use the M1, which is what we recommend for everything. This glue works great for these purposes. Don't use anything else. Remove the cap. You're gonna cut off the tip. And what we're doing right now is we're gonna put some glue in here. That will create a seal with the sleeve. And so yeah, we're just gonna push it in. Let's see. And you know, when you push this in, you wanna really kind of go kind of nuts and just really press it in there everywhere. Make sure that you're covering all the surfaces. It's okay if you make a bit of a mess. Cool, so we got that. Now we can cap the glue. And now we're ready for the sensor. So going back to where we were just now, I'm gonna put the sensor in like that. And I'm gonna rotate the nails so they are horizontal. And then, yeah, we're just gonna push this in initially by hand. This leaf has a piece of foam that will prevent it from going in too far. Now we're gonna use the clamp, right? So this clamp, we have multiple versions. This one is rated to 400 pounds. You can see it right on the handle, 400 pounds. So using this handle will limit the amount of force we press to 400 pounds. 400 pounds is good for grapes and any sort of woody crops that are pretty hard. If you're pressing this into a corn or tomato or pepper or hemp, then you will really want to use something a little bit different, or just kind of do it by hand. You can use this kind of trigger clamp. We like these ones. These are about 140 pounds of force. So if you're doing like really small green crops, you can use this, or you can just kind of press it in by hand, right? And just kind of see, make sure that you're going in far enough. Another thing with this handle, don't play with it. Like, it has a limited lifetime, so it really should only be used for about 200 clicks. And so, you know, you should only use it for, let's say, a couple hundred installations at the maximum. If you go and start clicking on it just for fun, then it's gonna get weaker over time. All right, so cool. So then, yeah, to set this up, we're gonna go press. Let's see, set this up. How does this look? Let's move backwards a little bit so you can see what I'm doing with the clamp. Let's move back a little bit more. Great. All right, so it's changing the focus. Cool. So then let's see, how does that look? Great. Yeah. All right, cool. So then, yeah, we're gonna just kind of attach this white part. Goes on the back, right? It kind of fits around the line. For this kind of thing, you want to make sure that there's nothing behind it, right? Because otherwise it's going to interfere. So this one works well. So white part on this side, the flat part presses on this little button here that says press. That's where you want to press so that the pressure is applied, just say aligned with the sensor. And then, yeah, I'm going to just use, let's see here. I want to rotate this and it's going to go in, and I'm using, notice that I'm using the handle, the plastic handle, because that will set the correct torque. So we're gonna just press with the handle, and the handle will click when you put enough force on it. So we're almost there. Let's see. There we go. You hear that? That means we're done. Don't keep going after that. Only one click is enough. Again, if you click it, if you keep click, it will weaken the torque and you will not get the right measurement. Okay, cool. So now we're ready to just kind of take this apart so we can pull this off. Boom. We can take this off as well. Let's see. Yep. All right. So we did all of that to ensure that this sleeve would be nice and even and aligned in there. Now we can remove the cap. Great. And you see there's this little foam piece. We can just remove it by hand or with anything. Then you kind of want to look inside, make sure there's not a lot of glue in there. There usually isn't. If you see a lot of glue in there, you can use a Q-tip like this one or one that we'll provide with your kit. Ideally, you want to have a Q-tip that is small enough to go into that hole, right? So that's why we provide this one, but there's a smaller one that might come with your kit. All right, cool. Now we're ready to drill. So we are going to use this little drill bit here. Comes with your kit. The drill stops at the right depth, right? You don't have to push the bit do the cutting. And we're doing a really shallow cut. So if you see here, we're basically only cutting about a couple of millimeters in. So notice you don't want to put a lot of force because then it's going to wobble this. That'll make it kind of come loose. So again, we're just kind of putting a little bit of force and just letting the drill do the cutting. And that's it. Good there. That part's done. Now we're going to use the mating compound. Comes with this little capsule sometimes. And let's see, we're just going to fill it in from the bottom. So you really want to get the syringe all the way in there. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. All right. Put the cap on it again. Now we take this sensor, and this is what it looks like. We're going to use this little capsule puller to remove it, to remove the capsule. So it kind of fits in like that, and then you can use this to pull. Boom. Sensor comes out. Once you're here, you want to put the sensor in right away, otherwise it can dry out. So I'm going to put the cap behind the spring, and then I use the cap to push in the sensor. So the cap presses the spring, and the spring presses the sensor. You want to let the spring do the pressing. That will set the right controlled force. And now we can rotate until it doesn't go in any further. That looks good. It doesn't want to go in any further. And now just for safety's sake, we're going to add a little bit more glue just around it. Again, the point here is just to get the best results possible, and so then a little bit of glue can't hurt. So we're putting this here. Obviously the sensor would be attached to something else. It can be attached to an SDI 12 converter box from FloraPulse, or it can also be attached to an extension cord or to a data logger, right? So it wouldn't look like this clearly. Cool, so now we're almost done. The final step is we're gonna use a zip tie to attach it to the trunk. Point here is you don't want this to be yanked out or anything, so you want to kind of just secure it in place. Let's just say there, that looks good. And then finally we're going to put some insulation. So let me cut this extra zip tie. And then the insulation. One of the insulation is not to strangle the vine or do anything crazy. It's just to protect it from sunlight. That's really the main thing. It doesn't need to be tight. It should not be tight. You want it to be loose so that if it rains or water gets in there, it can get out. Or if water condenses or anything, if you tighten it too much, you could have accumulation of water in there, and that will create problems. If water accumulates on the outside of the sensor, it will cause readings to be too wet. So let's see, right there, boom. And with that, we're good to go. I'm just gonna cut these zip ties. Hope you find it useful. Yeah, any questions, let us know. Thank you. Bye-bye.